there was a man with a penguin and... Hello? 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 Guys? Guys?
Let's all fucking pray I don't lose internet again. Yay.
Are you blushing yet?
Have you made your account?
It's about to get real dangerous, kitten.
Are you feeling up? Are you getting down? Stay up with me for another round.
I hope these late nights excite you. Know me as much as you'd like to. Are you locking up? I got the key. I can't believe she's alone with me.
Hope that your icon is online. Know that I want you to be mine.
I feel the awkwardness, the blood rush from my chest, rating the best part of all I can offer to you.
It's blooming panic. You got me checking my vibe. Click romantic.
Help us hit our stride. DBS is a stress test for reflex, and I gotta know what you're doing next. Check my DMs to the AM like I'm on a world's first rate with Night Island West. I know I need your advice. I hope my gift suffices. I'm feeling kinda shy, I don't mind when we get moments together like this.
I feel the awkwardness, the blood rush from my chest. I'm working to serve up a version of me that deserves you. It's blooming panic. You got me checking my vibe. Click romantic.
Help us hit our stride.
Hi guys, sorry I'm late. There was a man with a penguin
Just
and...
play to level 20 and I swear you'll like it.
You keep this up, and I'm gonna have to time you out.
Hello?
That's an abuse of power.
Not when I count it as harassment.
Come on.
It's only
Guys?
$14.99
You're
a month.
focused on the wrong fantasy.
The fuck up. You're laughing. Shut up.
You got me checking my phone.
Oh. Jesus, I still can't believe context. Why would send me a fucking walkthrough just to bully me? I'm not looking at it. I'm actually dying. Shit. Did you keep going after I slept? Maybe. Oh, fuck. It was a bad decision. I'm not looking at this. Shut up! When the fuck did it rain? I have been so out of it today. Because like four, like majority of my classes today. What didn't fucking happen? Hello, mocking my pain? The fuck I am. Yes, I am. Say anything else stupid, did I? Stupid how? Like, cringy? Oh my god. Fuck it, I'm gonna tease this living hell out of this man. Can you shut up? Unfair, unfair. It's cute, don't worry. Aw. Well, I can accept that, I guess. So before that, I'm a cute drunk. Thanks for the call. Calling, by the way, it was a nice distraction. Examiners? Sure. Your Honor, he's down bad. Your Honor, he is down bad for us. I repeat, he is down bad. During time, graduation, new job. You think you'd be all fucking excited. Are you nervous? Why would you be a little nervous? Well, again, exactly, I know why. Don't know how life after school looks. Who picked my scrawny ass out of the game and threw me in? Down bad, bitch. Bitch. I'm sorry, aren't you in a goddamn relationship? Losing my sense of community, my classmates. See, I don't got that shit. I don't make connections at my school. I have pissed off too many people. A lot of time to make friends outside of classes. I'm nervous about starting over. You won't be. You have me, remember? Oh god. But still, I think I struggle a lot. I don't know. What do you mean? I tried my best growing up, but I don't. I just crushed the Gusher box. Following when other kids are just accelerating to top so easily, it doesn't make sense, you know, when he's obsessed, but I'm left behind no matter how. I think I know what you mean. Who? Fuck. Able to do well in my career, and the stakes are higher than this time. But no doubt there are other people out there who could do better than me. They chose you for a reason, right? I mean, I guess. Whew, I'm so fucking... Hey, it would all work out. Whew! Whew! Your encouragement powers me. Thank you. God fucking damn it, I kin this motherfucker. Evening. Small crowd tonight. Seems that way. Please not now. Make my head actually split. Huh, what do you mean? He's a little hungover. Don't. If I ever I accidentally just made the screen smaller. Okay, it didn't affect anything else. I was gonna say, why? You drank last night? God, I can't believe you. He's allowed to relax a bit before stream. His exam, I said stream instead. He does. Oh. It's an absolute terrible habit. Consequences? Stop. He was supposed to graduate last year. And the night before his exam, and he got wasted. He was. Stop and failed. It's none of your business, Onion. Is that true? Oh, fuck. Are you doing... What are you doing right now? Not that. I'm not doing anything. Like, I believe that. I'm not lying. Prove it. Get on the... Prove that you're not drunk for the second night in a row. The hell? He doesn't have to prove anything. I trust him. I wish I could trust you. Fuck you. You're being a little insensitive. A little. Not the self-sabotage. How do you expect to? I'm about to fucking leave. I'm kidding. I'm not. I am nothing but self-aware, Onion. I'm so aware of how stupid I am. But just this once, I'm trying. Are you? Because it looks like you're being overly defensive about a reasonable question. Not fucking reasonable. How so? I don't know. I don't deserve this job offer, this fucking degree. I don't deserve any of it. I know I've never been good enough for that, and that's why I've always been so fucked for me. I know that I can keep gritting my teeth and pounding on the wall, and that's somehow because of me. That probably falls apart. That's probably... Wait, what? It all will probably still fall apart in the end. But because I know that, I'm trying so hard not to let that happen for as long as possible. And I just want to keep trying to see this through. Despite all the fuck-ups I've had before. That's nice. Get on cam. I'm sorry. That's such a mean response to some shit like this. Fuck you, fuck you. Shut up. I don't need your fucking input either. Real mature. Not trying to upset you. Oh, Big Man Onion calling the mod. My stomach actually dropped because this is actually like shit I've said before. It's not. I'll read the log sec. Do you all? This is fucked. I'm not teaming up with them. Bullshit. You're just like them. You play nice and pretend to be friendly. Until it's time to fucking leave me, until it's against. That's not true. Say whatever you want. God, my head is fucking killing me. I just want someone to tell me it will be okay. That I'll be okay. It's the fact that I've actually, like... Just remind me of past mistakes. It's the fact that I blown up like this in Discord before. Why? That fucking hurts. Finish first, Niall. You need to cool the hell down. How could you all think I wouldn't take the exam seriously after I fucked up so bad last year? Do you think that wouldn't eat me away, but how I can't screw up again? How if I'll prove it everything right about how lazy and stupid and useless I am? No one is saying that. You don't have to say it, dumbass. I can feel it. Listen, this is this third. This will be the third. My knees are bleeding. My ears are ringing. I can feel it. What do you mean? Are you okay? Is he having a heart attack? What the fuck? Glad he took himself offline. That was getting bad. You could have stopped his tirade. Sorry you had to see that. We had such a nice conversation before this. He's just a freak. He is not. Stop saying stuff like that. After seeing that. Because that's taking it a little bit far, Onion, so you disagree. Of course I disagree. Because I have done the same shit as him. And just went for Rat's decision. I'm not the kind of guy. A, he's hungover. He said some pretty terrible things, yeah. Again, he is hungover. And usually, but he's clearly going through some heavy stuff right now. Yeah. He's stressed the fuck out. Yeah, and Onion Thief practically just keep re-sailing. Not exactly helping G escalate either. That said, if you both take a while to forgive him, that's perfectly okay for now. Give him a bit of space. He's got a lot to work on his own. We should just let him. That's a good idea. Whatever. Fuck off. Get some sleep by... No, you staying up and worrying over this. Plenty of time tomorrow to sort out. Alright, good night, everyone. Fuck. Fuck me. Hello, what I miss? Hey, Toasty! Factory time. Bye-bye. Hi, June. Oh, why do you look so down? Where's the pep? I'm just worried about Night Owl. Because of the exam this morning? I'm sure you did great. Oh, dear. Oh, shit, that was the night before? What an absolute bastard. I'm sorry he said those things to you, bye. Way out of line. Go read. Yesterday, this channel. Thanks, Toasty. Really fucking appreciate that. Don't need to thank me. Wow, my brain actually just shut off. No need to thank me. Need Night Owl to sign on so we can give him. Somehow I think that's the worst thing you can do right now. Maybe. Oh shit. Speak of the devil. Bye. Can we talk? Oh my god. I just finished. What the hell, Night Owl? I know. I want to apologize to be face to face. You don't need to accept if you don't want to. Look, I didn't want you to find out some of those things about me. Same last year, my old habits, I'm different now, and please, this would be a lot easier. Okay, give me a moment. Thank you, bye.
Hey,
Hi.
I know you're upset with me. And you have every right to be.
Yeah, do you think?
I shouldn't have said those things to you yesterday. I'm really, really sorry. If you don't ever want to call me again, you don't have
See
to.
how you doing? Is this
If
why you
you're
fucking asked me to
uncomfortable
play
with
so
me
I
in
can
general,
get called out?
I'll even leave the server.
What?
Just, I am so sorry.
Maybe. Fuck you, Wayward. That's not.
I know it's not.
No.
I get it. Is there, anything I can do to make this better?
Yes, you can start by explaining.
Lashing out?
Yes. No shit, yeah, lashing out. Yes.
It's hard for me. This fucking sucks. I have a hard time dealing with what I feel when I see you side with Onion. Like, a really, really hard time.
When the fuck? I sided with Onion when?
Of course you didn't realize it. It's probably all just in my head.
God, I did not ask to come here to get
During
galled
the argument
out.
last night, and a few times before, it seemed like you weren't on my side anymore.
That was just my fault. I fucked up.
Yeah, in my head I know that. But it sucks, you know? Being the one talked down to, not taken seriously.
I know that feeling.
I told you, that's how my parents have always treated me. I used to sit there on my knees for hours while they railed at me. And that phone call the other night, I wish you could have heard it.
No. No.
I don't want you to think I'm trying to excuse what I did, though. I just want you to
Fuck.
see what was going on in my head. I was seeing red, and you got caught in the middle of it.
Again, it's not.
And I think I got too attached to you too fast.
Fuck. God damn it.
Shit, that's embarrassing to admit.
What do you mean?
You told me you supported my dreams and took me seriously when I talked about them.
Son of a bitch. Do I kin this motherfucker? Do I kin him? Do I? Hold on. Wait a second. Realization. No. Wait. I'm in a dilemma.
I haven't ever really had that. Not even here on this server.
Being treated like that bothers you, doesn't it?
It's fine. They don't know.
Also, fuck. It's also not Onion's place to say that. It's 100% not. You should tell them.
Should I? I feel kind of bad.
Yes, communication is fucking key, unless this friendship is gonna go down the fucking toilet. Coming from someone who has personal experience. Like, fucking talk. Fuck. Tell them.
Okay. Thanks for the encouragement. But anyway, yeah, that's why. I expected you to find me perfect and flawless at all times, and when you didn't, I lashed out like
Dude,
an
I don't
idiot.
even take people like I know people are gonna fuck up in my life.
And shit. It was really hard for me to focus on the exam today. I
Oh,
have
no.
no idea how I did. Not that that's your problem or anything. I kind of got what I deserved.
No, you didn't.
So, sorry. Again. That was wrong of me to treat you like that.
No. This hurts. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Can I admit something?
Of course. What's up? Wait. You did? I thought that was all in my head.
It has been a week.
If you don't mind me asking, how long? I mean, what?
A few days.
Uh,
It's been a week. I mean,
wait. Liked. I'm getting ahead of myself. You don't feel that way now, do you?
fuck. Okay. Put the nail. That's a good way.
Oh. Really?
Oh no.
Shit.
Is that bad?
No.
Sorry.
Can I, admit something too?
Sure. what's
I like you. Currently, present tense.
that? I sort of guessed
Oh.
that.
Oh god, I'm stupid. Of course you did.
Listen, I'm a dense motherfucker in real life.
Sorry, my brain is pretty fried. So, how does that make you feel?
Ow, fuck. Give me a second. I'm okay.
That I like you, I mean.
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
Even after all I said to you yesterday,
Yes, because...
you're still happy
Oh my god.
that I like you.
Sorry. I heard like the sharpest ringing outside,
Jesus,
and that
you
caused
really
the
do
ringing in
have
my
a heart of
ear
gold.
to spike up. So now I have a constant ringing in my ear at the moment, and then that's not fun because they give me really bad headaches. Me?
Yeah, you. You're too sweet sometimes. Makes me want to keep you all to myself.
Hey,
I know. That's kind of why we're in this mess, huh?
Wayward, what the fuck did you send me? Wayward, why the fuck did you just send me the walkthrough for XYZ's walkthrough?
Anyway, I know I'm repeating myself a bit, but I need you to know that I am truly, terribly sorry for what I said.
As you a simp.
And, well,
Fact.
like I said, I'm interested in you, so both of those things make me want to make it all better again.
Damn, why can't this happen in real life?
If there's anything else you think of that I can do for you, please don't hesitate at all to tell me. I want to know.
Okay. I
Yeah?
appreciate your apology. Yes. Please, you're really sweet deep down and beyond that extreme.
Hey! Don't start psychoanalyzing me, please.
Bitch, I've been called.
Jeez.
For
You're
sure,
welcome.
Thank you.
Of course. So, what's the future look like? For us? Sorry. I mean, don't read into that. I just...
Excuse me?
Shit.
I can see more of
In
you.
your future? More? What do you mean?
I'm missing a ring. Are you gonna
How
make me
else
say
can
it?
I be sure? Come on. I'm vulnerable. Go on, go on. Tell me.
You're teasing me. I'm straight up wearing
So
ripped
fucking
jeans and
adorable.
a long sleeve shirt. God damn it.
But, for the record,
I didn't plan for
I'd love to
this.
see more of you in my future, too.
Because I originally was gonna play Genshin, but the servers are down and they don't open for another 2 hours, and it's only been 1 hour.
Anything for you, cutie. I don't deserve you. But I'll work my way up slowly.
So leave you what I want.
Of course. Anything your majesty desires.
Anything?
Interesting.
Fuck! Oh fuck!
It's, been an emotional night. I can't believe I'm coming out of it with you as my partner. Wait. Oh no. Is that... Oh, no.
If you want to know what kills me in a conversation, give me a pet name.
I'm so sorry. I thought you meant... God, did I fuck up again?
No, it's Oh my god, I don't know if I'm ready for that, but that was pretty cute.
Cute? Cute? My embarrassment is cute to you? Got ahead of myself
Yeah,
once
if
again.
if you just want me
Sorry
to
about that.
like combust, give me a pet name.
If you decide you're
Wayward has seen me literally
ready.
die in the middle of conversation because someone
You'll
has
let
literally
me know.
called me a pet name, preferably V literally has a pet name for me.
Thanks, cutie.
And it's
Somehow, sleep is calling to me. Must be all this emotion I've been
so
feeling,
yeah,
draining all of my energy.
bestie.
I'm really glad we talked.
Fact.
Thanks for giving me the time of day.
No worries, get some rest and talk to you
Promise?
tomorrow. Promise.
All right. Good night.
Damn. Are we not even gonna go back to the thing? Yes, I'm here. So, how'd it go with Night Owl? It went pretty good. He was very apologetic. Do you believe him? Bitch, believe him. That he's actually sorry. Yes, I do. You're free to believe what you want, I suppose. Onion. Oh, shit. Hello, hello. Did you get your test results? It's been a day. I did. Oh. Yay. Nice work. Proud of you. Thank you. Well, well, you did it. Bitch. Not again. Don't worry, June. We have nothing to fight about anymore. Lamau. Should you? Now she. Oh god, why are we adding them? What? Sorry for snapping you the other day and all those other times. Now you're trying to look out for me in your own way. Oh? Sure, don't worry about it. Suppose I'm sorry as well. Should have been a little more kind in my criticism. I let my frustration get the best of me. We both did. Whoa, what's this? You two are making up? June. Never thought this day would come. Glad you did, though. I was rest seeing you two fighting. It's nice to see we might be able to get back some kind of normal now. Yeah. There are too many happy futures in the planet Bluemix server. Yes! Too many more. Several months later? That's a long drive from the airport. Now where is 201, 201? Ah, here.
Shit. 1 second.
Where were we meeting up in person?
Hello. Hello.
Hey, you're very good.
Whoops. Today's been so hectic. Sorry that I couldn't pick you up from the airport. My mom called and...
Understandable. She's glad. I know. I'm glad she might show up at your graduation. Hey, yo.
Me too. But now you're here, and I'm focused.
He's wearing a different earring. On me?
Of course. You are my favorite thing to focus on, after all. Now come on in. Time to relax after your long flight. Anytime,
Sounds
cutie.
I'm so glad I don't have my face cam on. I'm so glad I don't have my face. Thanks for playing. Damn.
Are you blushing yet?
Have you made your account?
It's about to get real dangerous.
Oh my god, okay.
Are you getting down? Stay up with
Starting
me for another round.
a new route. Her apparently she didn't the blind shut. She briefly considered calling Xander, but stopped shortly. Picking up her phone, noticed she had to go through alone. A shock rattled through her body. All Lola could do was panic. Was she going to change the way she liked?
I don't like it. I'm freezing all day.
For once, we enjoy the heat.
I know. It'll change in like 5 minutes after I start eating. It's okay. It's okay.
She sat down in her bed and took a deep breath. Lola 2.0, here I come. Another chapter done. You lean back in your creaky chair inside. The next chapter will be the last one. You can feel it. This convoluted story will come to a closing end of Blooming Panic. What the fuck is that?
Something in the fridge fell over.
I'm betting it's energy drink. I'm calling it. What did I say? For 3 years, you've been devoted to reading a following story. Fuck that energy drink. Lola, a girl trying to finish college while contending a magical transformation. The final transformation is definitely going to be in the upcoming chapter. But part you don't actually want that chapter to come out your chest feeling tight when you imagine the story ending. Fuck you. You've grown attached to not just Lola, but the rest of the cast as well, whose suitors Damien, Nathaniel, and Xander. Her friends Celeste and Lydia. And her mean girl rival, Sable. Can't you just get with Sable for a little bit? It's hard to imagine saying goodbye to all of them so soon. Text from your boss, he wants to come into work at 5 a.m. tomorrow. You toss your phone in your bed, and this is why I'm glad I'm a streamer, because I can make my own schedule. Turn back to the computer screen. You don't want to think about tomorrow morning. Reports, presentation, number crunching, all what you bright and early. You'll be lucky if you can sneak a cup of coffee. You aimlessly browse. You come across a single tweet from a brand new Twitter account with an invitation link to a Discord server. It looks like a fan server for the Blooming Panic. That smells good. Wait, is that a Discord server? It looks like a download for an entirely different program. Your mouse cursor hesitates over the URL. You want to click it. Click it. It's your boss again, no doubting sending you an itinerary for your sunrise arrival. You glance over at your other open window with the new web novel text pulled open to side of end of chapter monologue. A thought crossing your mind again. This will all be over soon. Your fingers tighten on the mouse. You click. That hurt. We're just here for suffering. I've become a monster official server. We're helping welcome another fan. What would your username be? I almost put in my ult. I gotta go with the lovely Air Venus, as always. Nice to meet you, Air Venus. They, them. Thank you. Actually, I'm like, you used to select a fan from themselves, but our Lola didn't have any with her flare right now, so we just received hers. Do you promise to be generally good person in the server? I want to cause some fucking chaos, but sure. Thank you. Now you have access to several channels in the server. Nice. No thank you. I got you. I got it. What the fuck? Perfect. I know how to run a Discord server. Well, that will be everything. I stay before you have access to the rest of the server. Enjoy. Air Venus has joined the server. Why would I lie to you? I've literally never lied in my life, Lo. So that's what? Do you honestly believe that you can get to a secret internet by plugging your router into the phone jack? Have you tried it? No. C. Doesn't even know what he's talking about. Everyone, please. If you have a new member. What? Oh shit. Welcome! Oh shit is me. Welcome! Hi! Hi, Arvinus! Welcome, new person! Let me know if anyone gives you a hard time. We want you to feel comfortable here. There's a car doing the crazy squeak and I'm gonna be in pain. Arvinus. Oh, you can call me insert nickname. Bye. Okay, bye it is. Hello, I'm Onion, AM University student Bland. Does anyone introduce themselves? Me. I'm Nao, and I'm a university student as well. Down bad time? It's down bad time. Whoa. Alright. I'm almost a university student. Almost. ASV student. Alright, look at all of us. The server is too educated. XYZ. Hello, I'm June. Probably the biggest Bloom Panic superfan. That's true. Keyboard smash. Who's left? Me and Sally's and XYZ. Well, you wish. Oh my goodness. I can see that. Hi. Oh, you can? Very cool, bye. You're very cool, bye. See why by trying. Hello, I'm XYZ and I enjoy money. God. Sorry, Arvinus, he's always like this. It's quite annoying. Remember that jail roll he used to have? This is what sparked to be having the horny jail roll. Jail on what grounds, please? Try to greet someone new. I'm greeting them! Jail. I will not forget this injustice. Introductions? Yay! Yay! Literally. You can call me Solos. I will leave by an adult after, and I'm enjoying my retirement. Solos is the best, and now you quest. No. The server moderator, let me know if you ever run into issues with these people. Literally, wayward. These people, wow, you deserve it. Wait, if we're gonna be posting face pictures, does anyone have that really old one of Quest? Huh? Oh, baby. Sick. Wait, what pic? What picture? Oh, no. Oh, well. Is it from a drinking night? I can't believe you saved that. Wayward has so much goddamn blackmail that this literally just screams. Oof, you're drunk in this? Is that a bad pic? Is it that bad a picture? No, you're glowing. Sure. Aw, Toasty's offline. Don't worry, I'm still showing up sooner or later. Lucky he's offline. I'm posting that picture I saw of him, but I want to see his embarrassment live. I want to see? So have I. How'd you find the server? I saw this on a social media site. Classic. Oh, which website was it? Twitter. By the way, you should definitely go follow my Twitter. Must have missed that post. So new post then. So do you have that link? I wouldn't even bother trying to look. Oh yeah, that command works. I would say it's probably already down by now. Is it? Oh. Ah, now you mention it, it's really gone. Not surprising. Unfortunately true. It's straight. That's very much how we all came here too. A forum post, an old tweet. Things like that all disappearing after we click. Even UQuest? Yeah. How'd you come out then? I don't know, it just happened to me when I joined. Maybe it's because you were the first to join? Maybe. So bye. I need to save off the existential dread. Glad to help? Who hasn't been there, to be honest? In that case, so need Buttercup theories with my ring just fell the fuck off, and I kind of like that ring. Don't you have class onion? Oh wait, check the time. Don't you have class onion? Yeah. Goodbye, everyone except XYZ. Well. Oh my god. Oh, Salos is gone too. You probably accidentally hit the power button again. Oh, poor Salos. Salo. How the fuck do you say that? His kids will help him out more with the computer stuff. But then he would become too powerful. True. The server wouldn't be able to contain him. Oh no. A tragedy. So, Venus, are you a student? No, I'm working finance, which is the opposite of what I would ever work in. Would you like it? Would you like if you worked 12 hours a day? Damn. Sorry to hear that. I appreciate I keep my head through. Thanks, I'm accompanying by staying up too late. If one of you bitches change my role in the D&D Discord tonight, I'm punching you when I ever meet you in real life. Oh, you are me. Oh, fuck. Fucked up if true. Anyways, I hope you enjoy your time here. Most channels are self-explanatory. William Panic is the most recent chapter. Time to refer back to if you read. Yes. Nice. We've already seen this stuff, so I don't want to read through it again. I don't want to skip it. Pretty sad about it too. I missed it. There's my pencil. There's my computer. There's my battery or my camera. You think the space under my desk would be organized, but no, the fuck it is not. This is the real server grandpa. Hey, it's me and Wayward being server grandpas. How late do you usually stay up? We're gonna change it up. Usually before 10 p.m. Nice to see another sensible person in here. That's not true. I sleep at like 1 a.m. That's too early. No, it's not. No, it definitely is. Depends on where I am. School, I fall asleep pretty easily. Home, no. Back. Good morning. Make a toaster. To apologize. Toasty! I turn the second monitor. Hi. If you're yelling at me, I'm still looking for this goddamn ring. Oh, hi, Toasty. Oh my god! That's always cool. It's so cool seeing fan art in games. Oh? Is this who I think it is? Who's texting me? Probably. Okay, note this up. I hit my phone because never mind. What's day you? Or Damien never broke up with Lola. Do you remember why you broke up with her? Honestly, to be honest, not really. No worries, let's summarize. First love interest in Bloomic. Bloomic is the web novel's nickname. And he's torn about Lola's transformation. Because he values personal experience in surface levels things a bit. When he couldn't handle it anymore, he ended the relationship. I would smack him. Poor Lola. That was a hard chapter to read. It wasn't her fault. Wow, even this is amazing art. So anyways, AU is one of my favorite AUs. Because it's full of stuff like this. And Damien made the right choice. No way. It's such a selfish reason to end things. And it was really hard for Lola to deal with. Why is everyone fighting in here? Oh, lol. Selfish or not, he knew he wasn't able to get over it and broke up with her. Oh, it's Dayu again? What can you agree with? Can't. I just want you guys to fight more. Can't I watch you guys fight more? I don't know if I can condone that. If I can. Controversial character either way, but still a good character. Agreed. But being treated like that? Tough. Oh no, has that happened to you? Familiar with breakups and comments? What? What do you look like? What? Ignore him. Changed a lot after I graduated college, is all. I've changed since the last time I played this game. I'm sure you look very cute. Dude, my hair is really chopped shorter. Agreed. Don't let the charge get you down. You seem like a good person, so they lost. Yeah. I've only had... You can't agree after you defended Damien. This is different. I'm gonna be... Sorry if I hurt your feelings. I'm gonna be honest, I already fucked up the guide. It's okay. In his defense, he doesn't know that about you. Still. Sorry. Damien Discourse. Oh, how I missed you. Well. us in D&D Discourse. Anyways, I'm returning to my cave to cope with new blooming. June gasped. It's like God's be with me. Oh God. Yes. What? June is now offline. I'm going AFK for a beat. I'm begging all of you to stay out of trouble. Okay, I'm late for a raid. Ping me later. I can complete about my strategy. Hey. This feels different. Excited to meet you. Sure, see you. Did I do it right? This feels new. I hate to say this, but I got dip as well. See you. Yep. we're in the right direction. How quickly they all fall. Oh, everyone's gone. Welcome to seeing me be down bad. Gotta say, impressive. No one had an intro call for you. Intro call? Yeah, they usually do a video chat with someone when someone new joins. They did a big one just the other day. Oh, that sounds fun. Are you gonna call me then? It's fine, you don't have to. Okay, I'll do it, but no autographs. Sure? Do I spy?
How'd you know I'm a spy? No, not matter. It's too late anyhow. If you don't want me to expose your internet search history,
Ayo.
give me all your Bitcoin.
Don't own any. Boo.
I have to say, you certainly look interesting.
You certainly sound
Oh,
interesting.
this?
You thought that was real?
Fuck. Down bad whore? Yeah! Okay, you got me.
Right, right.
Fuck.
There's just so many ways.
To have fun with this thing. You should feel lucky that you're mine.
Test bunny.
Oh god, please no.
At least I'm not doing the accents too.
Oh. Well, I think this is going good with
Yeah.
my first call.
Same.
Wait, huh?
Huh, what? So what do you think of the server so far?
Pretty interesting.
Sure. Bound to be with this bunch of nerds.
Oh, welcome to our D&D.
And yes, I do consider myself the singular cool person among them.
Huh, bet you do. Right.
And on that note, it's time for me to depart and go do more mysterious things.
Like what?
You, for one, have been an excellent test subject.
You baited me into being your guinea pig.
Hey, joining the call was your choice. I absolved myself of any guilt. Besides, it led to a favoured outcome, whether or not I may have planned for it.
Do you really have to go so soon?
Ah, just a taste of me and you already want more.
Yes.
This is why I don't do calls. You people will get greedy. My presence is just too intoxicating.
Then you have a good night then.
Night.
Bestie, I'm down bad. I have never, ever crumpled that hard. I have never crumpled that hard in my life. I'm just gonna sit here for a second, my own shame. God damn. It's been what? It has not even been an hour. Oh my god. Oh shit. What is it? Are you alright? Oop. Sorry, I'm just being dramatic. I was being dramatic, but apparently X was in a call. What? Wow, really? I've never heard his voice, right? So you joined that big group call the other night. No, he wasn't on that call. Just last night. Good evening. Hey there, Venus. I wasn't. Good evening. Do you know anything about this call? What call? Suspicious. Yeah, that's super suspicious. Suspicious. Okay, but really, spill. Ooh. Or you can ask him. Good timing. I heard you were in a call last night. Tell us about it. I'm gonna have to get the bad endings. I'm gonna have to get more call. Oh my god. I deny all allegations. Dude, that's super suspicious. What are you hiding? And talk about something that never happened. Did they... I was about to be like, can't they just check this? Whack. Toaster, hi! Hey, Toasty! Must be raid time. And take your secrets back to your cave now, XYZ. Oh. Oh. Actually, I might be online for a bit. Day off. Look at that. Apparently frowned upon to work while injured. Injured? Got to too. Oh, but I'm okay. What? Oh no. What the fuck? What happened? Did you get into an accident? No, just a spin. How fast were you going? Whatever the max is. Actually, people who are alive, I haven't. Undead Army Rise. Undead Army Rise. Zombie AU. How was the hospital? The what? What do you mean the what? You said you were injured. Hospitals don't have Hello Kitties. What's this point? Oh my god, yes they do. Wait, since when? AFK? Huh. What the hell hospitals you've been going to? I wish I had a car. Motorcycle. You have a motorcycle? Wait, are you okay? Fuck, that's cool. Yep. If I wasn't okay, I could do this. Do what? Oh, I guess you couldn't see it. I just did a sick backflip. I'm sure you did. I'm not sure why I believe you. Nice friend, motorcycle school. Oh, shit. Can't believe that could be me baiting? Of course. I attended 24/7, shaking my head. What do you see what I mean? Not without my glasses. A good one, Sal. Very proud. Please, dad jokes. Dad jokes are the best. I can't help but get one in from time to time. BRB though, restarting. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, me, June. Hello. Hey, June. June. I see you left your cave. I have a new project plus announcement. Ooh, project? Tell us. Okay, but I'm putting it in blooming discussion. June away. I thought about this for a while, but I want to make a server Zin. A what? OMG. Oh, cool. What's a Zin? A magazine? Yeah, kind of. I'll be making something for it. Like an art or writing, and then we just put it together for the blooming groups fans everywhere. Like a gift. Yes. Is this your first one? I don't know how to say this, even though I've had teachers. No. Why'd you answer like that? Moving on! This Zin sounds amazing. Does it have a theme? Magical girl AU. Yes. Can I help? So I've been writing about them being magical girls. Have you seen Sailor Moon? Sailor Moon. My daughter likes it, I think. Good taste. Oh, do you like Sailor Moon? Spicy. Of course I do. Powerful ladies, romance and action. An absolute thrill. I have not watched a single episode, but I know of it because I love their outfits and transformations. Sal, as a draw to help, it's about the same vibe as that. Well, okay, we'll go and think about it then. Are you saying you'll do it for sure? Yes, bye for now. Well, too. Sure. Later, Sal. That's... Oh my god. My brain does not want to read today. Thought you're on bar already. I need this while I wait for the final chapter. How about you, Venus? My urge to say this is my most... Oh yeah, fuck, I forgot we have work. I'm not so sure I have time, to be honest. Aw, that's okay. Even if it's really small, you can't do that, that's okay. I love June. Excited to see what everyone comes up with. Me too. Not ours, but I will try my best. Ooh, I bet it will look really nice. Too! That would be cooler though. Wow. You're here now, right? Supposedly? Putting together a server bloom Zin. Zine. Everyone can contribute whatever they want. What, I have to draw something? Yes, you have to. But no. If you want to. Will you sacrifice your precious raid hours? Well, I mean, Come on, it'll be so much better if everyone participated. It doesn't have to be elaborate or anything, it's for fun. Yeah, do it. I'm gonna draw some of the girls I think. That's so unlike you. Please, please, Toaster. Okay, listen, I'll consider it. As long as I can draw Nathaniel. That's totally fine. Yay. It's just no pressure, I'm sir. Yeah, no pressure. Well then. X. Oh boy, what will you do? I didn't actually agree to this. Well, damn. Oh, I think Night Owl's on like, damn, I couldn't tell. Don't change the subject. Don't change the damn subject. Yeah, freedom. Hello, wake up, wake up. I need attention. I need it now. I'm going to collapse. I'm going to collapse. Oh, please. Relatable shit posting in here. I live again. Strength fading. Eyes closing. I live again. Eyes rise. I didn't realize we were summoning. Would have helped. God damn. It's not too late. Summon me. Fuel me. Speak those magical words. Caffeine, caffeine. Yes! Hello to you too. Night Owl just has my feral energy and I love it. Did something happen or is it just usual Night Owl shenanigans? It's not enough to simply need a little love, a little attention, some company. You wounds me. Hey Night Owl. Actually Night Owl, while you're here, oh yeah! Yes? Making a Zin for Bloom theme around a magical girl AU. Loving this already. I was wondering if you'd like to do something. Yes. If I get to draw Best Vampire Boy, here it comes. Only the finest page 1 art for Damien. Whoa, 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 who said you were getting page 1? I want Ren to draw emotes like this. He was Lila's first boyfriend first, so he gets first page. Oh no. Fight, fight, fight. Not another fight. Onion thief. Imagine not putting Celeste on page 1. Imagine, guys. I was JK Wright's house. No, I was not. OMG. Wow. Wait, no. Her best character has a point. Now we talking. More support for the lesbian BF character, please. I have to say I'm curious. I would say had a quest, but excellent. There's a piece of hair stuck to my sleeve and it's bothering me. What's up closer to collective server? But the power of Celeste. I believe we're discussing the best characters. We naturally are talking about Xander. Incorrect. Oh, how can everyone be wrong all at once? Because Celeste is best character. She's a lesbian. Xander's been a secret fish lesbian this whole time. In which case, I'm listening. Find together servers in. I'm probably saying that I see. We were just discussing how best chair Nathaniel will go on page 1. Okay, I highly doubt that. Lies and slander. Liable, actually. It can be anything you want to contribute, like writing, like art or writing. Art for me? Oh yeah, if I have time. Oh, maybe if I have time. Likewise, my time is precious and most delicate to my studies. Okay, cool. I will ask again a bit later and you can figure it out. But now, I'm gonna go. Enjoy the rest of your time. See you, June. Where the fuck is my mouse? Oh, there it is. Me too, I actually have stuff to do. AKA your mom is calling you. Well. Yeah, bye. I have to go to bed too, work tomorrow. Several people are typing. Aw, see ya. See ya. Good night. Rest well. Those was questionable taste. I fucking love that.
Oh, I need to change my trash.
We both do. Hello. Awkward silence. Hello. God damn it, lady, you broke the chain. Yeah, but guess what I found? Women. I mean, yes, perhaps. Oh. Putting it fanner. Woo! She. Oh, it's the same artist who did That Day You Art. It's where we get a Celeste. Lack of fan art for her should be a crime. Best character, acceptable art. Thank you! She's definitely underappreciated. Finally, someone else sees the light. She may not be one of the main boys, but can you not love her? She's so sweet and supportive. And she tries to stay upbeat when things aren't going so hot. I need a person like that in my life. Yeah, good point. Plus, perhaps, you know, hotfish lesbian. All hail. Amen. Hello. Hi, June. Yo. God damn it, it is me. I have more info. Ooh, about what? Zing. Ah, this again. Zintalk, but in my book, I just found a very more Japanese tsunami jokes. Please, it's quite riveting. If you'd like to hear some. Requesting a 5-minute hold on jokes. If the joke stops, I doubt. It's like a shark that stops swimming. I don't think shark's thing is true. Well, god damn it. Depends on the species, actually. Huh, the more you know. Thank you for the knowledge, Vi. I appreciate it. I'll allow for a temporary stop to joke. Really? No. Whatever. I have a general outline for Zin. Oh yes, good timing. Oh? Let me see the boy. Let me see the boy. My characters will be spread out. That's good, but we kind of need a cover art and more writing. I know Onion writes, but Quest 2? Okay, I'll ask him later. I didn't really confirm. But I think to conquer schedule. Can you do go spice up speed? Oh, that works. Okay, great. No. Whoa. Damn. You don't even know what I'm gonna ask. What I'm going to ask. So you weren't going to ask me. So you weren't gonna ask me to do the cover art? No. Whoa. How'd you come up with this AU anyways? Well, I'm glad you asked. What the fuck now? We're gonna talk about this. You have pressed her on switch. Like a boom machine. Boom machine. Somebody say boom? Yeah, but it has its fantasy sprinkled in. And what if it was more present in the story? It's the kind of words to say you were watching Sailor Moon again. God damn, Sailor Moon is awesome. Anyways, I was thinking about how to amp up the setting. Not losing another ring. Without changing the story vibes and staying on magical girls. Fits the school setting, everyone gets cute outfits. You get the gist. Ooh, yes, the outfits. And Nathaniel makes his an excellent tuxedo mask. Damien. You can't have 2 tuxedo masks in the Zin. Watch me. Oh. Not gonna lie, I can't believe that worked. Huh? Didn't think I could actually invite anyone here. How'd you end up alone in a dead channel? Not sure. Literally us. Probably something about the bot never not completely alone. Sal in here. But I'm not sure you realize that. Why'd you pick me to invite? Don't know. Talking to you wasn't half bad. Considering this a reward, I guess. Either way, welcome aboard. Do they just have... Now we have a secret base. Technically! I like the sound of that. Your devise our plan in peace. Like taking over the world? Ambitious, are we? I believe in us. Well, if you insist. Oh my god. Would you like to continue the Celeste combo? Because, you know, I'm down bad. Oh, hello. You say that because no, I'm interested. She's a fish lesbian. She feels like Laguna Blue from Monster High. Ah, I have a better idea though. Yeah? Hang out in here, why don't we go inside? The wondrous technology can get you the gift of my glaring face directly on your screen. That's certainly a way to ask for a video call. And sure. And everyone's gonna be freaking the fuck out.
Ta-da!
Hi. So he has
You're
arrived.
welcome.
Fuck. How are you feeling? Healing up okay?
Healing? Normally? Thanks for asking. A little shocked you even remembered. Bored, are we?
No, I was just a bit worried.
Well, there are far more interesting things to worry about.
Is he not used to people giving a shit about him?
Like this new soundboard I bought because I was bored.
Oh my god. Oh my god, a new soundboard. A soundboard!
Lords and ladies, royals and nobles of the court, I present to you a brand new sound from yours truly. I guarantee it is absolutely sick.
Fuck. He's giving me Atlas energy because Atlas has a goddamn soundboard. It's hilarious. It better be. There it is. Yeah, it was pretty sick.
Would you expect anything less from yours truly?
No. I haven't been disappointed yet.
Excellent. Stick around then. We'll see if I can keep it up. Anyway, it is time for a subject change.
Oh?
Although you will certainly never hear me say this again, enough about me. You up to anything interesting?
Nothing as close as soundbar, unfortunately.
Not sorry about that, doll. I'm afraid you'll never catch up to me on that account.
What did you just call me?
How about this? Have you ever been cliff diving?
No, but I want to.
That's the spirit. You can't beat that kind of rush. Honestly, any kind of diving is a pretty good option. Skydiving, high diving, diving.
I've done the diving. What do you like to do?
Yes.
What was that?
Dunno, probably the neighbours.
Is that a cat? Do you have a cat?
It's just a stray. It likes to hang around sometimes.
Nah.
And extort food from me.
Let me see the cat, goddammit. So you don't care about this cat that's totally not yours.
Was that not evident? It doesn't even have a name. I'd just call it Cat.
Bitch,
Not that I
give
have
it
a
a cat
reason
then.
to call it.
Oh, you like the kitty, don't you? don't call you. I never said anything about love.
Hey, I want this struck from the record. What will it take to get you to forget?
Are you bribing me?
It's more of a contract. You forget what I said, and in return, I will. What would constitute a tempting offer for you?
Oh my god. I'm not sure you're quite what I'm looking for.
Is that so? I think you'll find I'm a man of many talents. You drive a hard bargain. I'm not keen on promises, but how about I pledge not to blare air horns for a day?
No! That's mean. You don't make promises.
Promises can be broken, babe. Are you saying you'd perhaps like something a bit more personal?
Huh? Air horn is good.
Hey, my neighbours thank you. However, I said nothing about the sound effect.
Oh god. Rep headphone users. You tricked me.
Tricked? Now why would I do that? Be careful with the fine print next time. We wouldn't want to agree to something.
Why is he
unsavory.
mean when it comes to things like that? Won't press, then you're safe. For now.
Well, since there's no hiding it, I suppose.
Show me the cat. The cat's so cute.
Well, since I reckon I got
Why
off
is my mouse
easy, I
moving
may
by
as well.
itself?
You hear that, cat? You got off easy, you little thief.
Hey, don't make me
Maybe
not
when
cat.
Cat starts paying rent, I'll think about being nicer. No more freeze-dried lamb and salmon feasts if you bother me at work.
What do you do for work?
Ooh, nosy are we? Why don't you take a guess? No bad answers.
Accidentally just cut off his
done
voice.
once. And go.
Model.
Oh. So you think
I
I'm
didn't
pretty
see
enough to be a
Overlord.
model, do you?
Yeah.
Please, go on. Tell me all the ways I'd fit. Is it my brilliant eyes?
Yes.
These luscious lips?
You
Should I get closer to the camera, maybe?
absolutely
Now,
not.
no need to be modest. You can tell me everything you think about my appearance in great, excruciating detail. Go on, I'm listening.
Please no.
Well, since you said please so sweetly, I'll wait until next time.
I know you're fucking enjoying this.
Okay, I think I've unveiled enough about myself today.
Do you want me to unveil something too?
What, like your credit card number?
I don't know where the fuck I left that. Fuck it. Sure.
Well, if you're gonna do that, then give me your bank info too.
It's okay. That's too much. Deals off.
So disappointing.
God damn.
We may have to shelve the questions for next time, actually.
Somebody came into the room. Huh?
Well, you heard Cat. It's time to eat.
Oh,
And what kind of host would I be if I didn't feed the thieving freeloader?
understandable. That's doing with my cats. Enjoy the rest of
Hey,
your
don't
day.
tell me what to do. But sure, maybe. I was glad for the company.
Yeah,
Good to
fun
hear.
too. Oh, there goes the cat.
Toodles.
Fuck. It's almost 8. Oh, it's almost. I do want to make food though, but I don't have that much food. I could make ramen. Alright, this will be the last day and then I'm ending stream. As I want to make ramen. Good morning. What now? It's not even morning. Let's go! Let's go! Go where exactly? Anyway, you're not invited. What? Why would I care? Embarrassing for you. So, got the Zing page allegation figured out. It's coming together. I'm so excited. Damn, you've been busy. Welcome to the life of a student who really enjoys art. That's true. I didn't realize how much effort you put into this until now. Motherfucker, ow. Does that mean you're going to try harder? never do anything but my best. Well, that can't be true since your humor needs work. Damn. Never claimed to be humorous, but I could have. I put an actual attempt. But sure. Can't pull out being serious. Is that a bet? Well, no. No, I really want to see you try this. Wait, why not? So you know that you lose. What's the point of being serious? It doesn't do anything to improve your life. Damn. Yes, it does. You have to be serious about study and improving yourself. Are you sure about that? Why does my thing keep moving? What if Onion tried to be peppy like June? What? Imagine that is killing me. Great of a challenge. Just call him a tight ass. Very mature. God damn it! This is literally a D&D group chat all over. For a second, I'm just gonna emulate June if I choose. Let's see that. Ooh, show us your June. Oh, fine. This is ridiculous. Boo! Coward. I'm gonna drag all of you into Discord call and just witness this with me. Fine, we're waiting. Hi, I'm June. I really like Boomik. Ask me about my boys. Wait.
Hi, I'm June. I really love Bloomik. Ask me about my boys.
Why could I never do that before? There you go, satisfied? Very. Two Junes for a moment. Terrifying. Hey! Anyways. Wait, that reminds me. XYZ. Can you seriously confirm that you're doing this in? Please, 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 please. Don't back out of this now. I never said yes. What? I never even said yes. What? Help with the allegation planning. Just like characters, and if it's or writing. You can keep the rest a secret. It's fine. Bitch, you fucking better. I also love his picture. Looking for an excuse. It wouldn't kill you to contribute to a server for once, you know. Okay. Goddamn. Hyperbot has joined the server. Who the fuck? Finally. Awaken my lineage. Huh? Hello, what? Oh. You're looking hot and muscular today. I can't. Oh my god. Thank you, that means a lot to me. Did he just make a bot? What have I walked into? What the hell? Leopard, say hello to an... hello. Hello, Hyperbot. Is this a goddamn bot? It's a bot. Yep. Yo, Airviness! You looking hot today. Almost as much as... Oh no. Oh yes! This can't be allowed. Numbers are broken, just saying hi to Nightbot. Who's gonna at Quest? You just kept talking about me. Driving all up insane, does that count? Hypebot would never. So true, bestie. This is why you're the funniest and hottest person in the server. So true. God, not today. Onion Thief is now online! See you later, bestie. Stay sexy. This is gonna be our new reality. Wouldn't mind if it was. Toasty, my boy, you always have my back. You know it. Does Spot have any other trigger words? Can't reveal all my secrets. Oh no! I have something. Oh no! Stop, AK. I should have known. Yeah, but I try. Okay, what about? It's gonna. It's gonna be some. What do you think about Celeste? Took me a second. Yeah, because it's gonna take very correct. Oh, this is your propaganda bot! Are you sure this is drum up support for a fish girl side character? Neither confirm nor deny! Feels my amusement. I need this bot. Bet. Uh-oh. Welcome back, sexy. Enjoyed the view! Lol. What's wrong? What's going on, big lady? Today was, well... It's okay to vent. Did your first day go okay? There wasn't a... No! There wasn't even No! I sat there waiting for an hour like an idiot. No! Oh, damn. I'm sorry. Fuck, I can't believe she stood you up. That's terrible. And it was a girl... Garbage. I'm gonna punch a bitch. I'm so sorry. Thanks. I got on here today and tried to distract myself, but I can't even pretend it doesn't hurt. Bestie, no! We thought she liked me. We talked for weeks before this. I don't even know what I did wrong. Bestie, no! You don't have to pretend. Just do whatever feels best for you. We love and appreciate you. Well, thank you. I love you guys too. It's just I put my favorite dress, got my nails done. I spent hours on this person and they didn't bother telling me not to go. I feel so fucking stupid. I was honest. Fucking. It sounds like you dodged a bullet. Yeah. I don't want to be someone like that. Who would do something so awful? Yeah, what she said. She still hasn't said anything to me. Block the bitch. I guess you're right, and I should stop checking. Lady, yeah, she's not worth it. You deserve better. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's day 3. It's, yeah, someone that's not worth your time. Exactly. So yeah, you deserve the best. Oh, I feel the same. Wait. Love you all! Oh, I'm so... Love you all! I love her voice, and I'm so happy now that I can actually hear their voices. All this affection, gross. Oh, please, you really just try and sit around and call, waiting for Air Venus to show up earlier. Hey, yo! What? Oh? Big if true. I've never spoken to this man in my life. What you talking about? Exactly. Never spoken to this man in his life. I see you've chosen to troll. Be cute if I wasn't so furious. All of this is cute. Well, haha. They continue to mock us. They won't get away with this. It continues. Debating cracking up a bottle of wine or a pint of ice cream. Pint of ice cream. The perfect salute for a trash day. Hi, lady. The sound of your day went. I think you deserve both. Agreed. Yeah, honestly. I don't like the taste of wine. I'll hang around for a little bit. For a little while. Goddamn, I can't read. But depending how fast I get through this bottle, it may not be very long. Damn! No worries. Take your time to unwind. Will do. Let's stay to make sure. Appreciate it, Toasty. By feeling eccentric later. I love just all like the Oh, I bet for the Zin. Bro. It's kind of hard to think of her nails like the Gary sister. Welcome in, Justin. Why does Genshin Manifest take so fucking long? I know, right? Hey, but if they go over the 2 hours, we get more primos. So, like, always pray that it goes longer. Welcome to me being down bad. Down horrendous. Can't wait to see how this turns out. Oh my goodness. Actually, I was going to ask, do you want to do something for the Zin? Not again. Oh no, it's the worst this time. I have crumbled just because someone has called me cute. I'm not sure I could bring to the table there. Whatever you like. I used to do lettering a long time ago. Maybe I can try a hand at that again. Oh, that would be perfect. No one's offered to take the title page. I will do my best then. That's all I ask. It's all coming together. Has been renamed to Zindom. There we go. Offline. Yay! Oh, big lady got drunk. What's the name of the Zin, by the way? I think the beautiful blooming warrior Lola. That's a long title, isn't it? Wasn't gonna say it, but a little. Just a little. What about the blooming warrior Lola? Sounds good. That said, I'm not sure how good it look in my style. No, trust me, it's fine. It's a collab project. The more style, the better. Sure. I literally, when I was in home economics, I literally had to take a class on, like, lettering. Psst. Psst. Reporting in. Acknowledge. Please revive sustenance. Supplies are low on yellow. What should I get you? You can start. That's not food. All your money. Bitch, I gotta pay for college. As for doing extra substance. Well, then you're gonna take my college. You're gonna take my college tuition. Shall find another time then. For now, I rest. Are you feeling tired? I guess these painkillers are taking more out of me. I hope you feel better soon. Forgot who. Thanks. Has this been not when you really are worried? Wait, please don't actually answer that. Leave it then, huh? I saw you pause. Yeah, it wasn't time. Poor lady. Yeah, she had a rough day. I hate when people are forced to try and fake their happiness when there's exactly why I'm glad she can vent to us. Yeah. Oh, if there's gonna be a call, you're gonna see me crumble. If you had an accident or if a bad day, I wouldn't try to be all jokey around you. Oh, hello. Not like I'm inconsiderate or don't care about anything. I care about you too. Okay, wait, I have to rephrase. I meant I wouldn't be a dick about it. Wait, no, that's still wrong. Hello? Osh. Oh, hello! Okay, so. Guess you could see this channel after all. Don't remember being here. Yeah, we haven't used it in over a year, not surprising. What will we use it for? Kind of how it's now with the small group. Oh. Lol. Rip. Back to us. I guess so. Hate to say it, but I should probably try to lay down for a while. Not that I want to leave you or anything, but okay, no. I'm just trying to say I'm not trying to. Yeah, it's okay. Take care of yourself. Yeah. Clearly tired and cannot type correctly. Talk to you later. I promise I'll be back tomorrow. Lives in the promise. Pinky promise? Fine, I'll accept this as a signature just this once. See you tomorrow. Your Honor, I've already explained this. I am a down bad. I am down bad. I am down horrendous. This is bad. Right, I did say after this I would end because I do want to get food before it's like too late. So who is live at the moment that I can bully? Someone is doing a penguin sanctuary. Never mind, they have their thing on follower only, and I just, no offense, but I despise that. I like their title. Please do not have your title on followers only. Huh. Never mind. Because no one who really I follow. Huh. That's following. No, we're just gonna do browse. Let's see, who's on Stardew Valley? Someone's doing a charity stream. Second year start. Alright. I found a person. Actually, literally in like 12 minutes. No, that's wrong. Like an 18-minute Genshin service should be up, so I might get on. But we're gonna go raid all my wonderful socials except for YouTube because I keep being an idiot who keeps forgetting to put it on there. I just fucking butchered that, but that's okay. Hey, at least my Wi-Fi didn't cut out. Alright. We'll be back tomorrow. We will be pulling for the bard. For the tone deaf bard. Because we got to. We got to. The other one will be pulled later on or off stream. But yeah. Bye-bye.